Welcome to Stories, Soul Work, and Substack. I'm John Rinaldo, joined by my co-host, Kaz in the World. Each episode we share real stories, honest conversations that connect us through creativity and truth. Before we begin, please remember our discussions are based on personal experiences and not a substitute for professional advice. Now let's dive in. Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
We're
well,
having
like we talked
glitches.
about, are we glitching already?
I think so.
I think
I
we're
am.
okay. You're there. Are you? Oh man, glitchy
Yeah,
John.
glitchy John.
How am I? Well, we were talking about it prior to coming on. I'm okay. I've been having a couple of challenging weeks with chronic pain. And because of what I did for a living, I fell off of buildings as a stunt person and circus and professional water skier and dancer, which I would do it all again. But, it came a point where I had to pay the piper. And so now
Right.
I've got fibromyalgia and degenerative disc disease in my neck and trochanteric bursitis in my left hip and osteoarthritis and la la la. But, it's not uncommon. Women and men are dealing with chronic pain. So I'm working with Eastern and Western medicine and mental health care and dietary. And stress is a huge thing too with any kind of with anyone. You don't just have to have chronic pain to
Right.
to need to keep your stress, as you well know, at a minimum. But yeah, I'm seeing a hypnotherapist. Hi, Leslie March, and I would love to find someone, bring on someone who has some expertise in chronic pain because it's kind of hard to find other than take this pill that has side effects that you don't want to deal with that may be even worse than the chronic pain or
Right.
so yeah, mental health, dietary, Eastern Western, come on down. Would love to talk with you. But I try to keep a good attitude, I'm still having fun and we're here and that always makes me happy. And
That's
I
good.
know you, yeah. I know you are busy, busy guy. So what's going on?
So I got, my day-to-day stuff I gotta deal with, and it's end of year, so we're catching up on that. And then
Right.
there's setting up the shows, getting those ready, and then I'm also doing a podcast on Thursday night for my other podcast, and that's for I forgot the name. But
Is that
I
the history one? The history one?
no, it's another one that um give me one second. I forgot. Just um yeah, shoot. Why did I forget the name? I can't believe that.
Oh, because your brain is too full of stuff. You've
Yeah.
got your art, you've got this show, you're starting another show, and which I'll
That's
probably do in the new year too. But I mean,
right.
you've got family, you've got work, you've got all sorts of stuff happening. So no wonder your brain forgets your next show.
Well, the other show is called Discovery, Co-Parenting, and the Hard Truths. So I got this guy I
Oh,
met, I've talked to, I found him on TikTok, and he was talking about his call name is Dad from a Distance. So his
oh,
stories are very similar to mine.
mm,
But what we're noticing out in the world is a lot of people would say, I posted something on TikTok, and they said, "Well, it must have been you. You're the problem." And I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I was part of the problem, but I'm not the sole person. So there's
it
a lot of
always
people out there,
takes two. I never get this. It always takes two,
right?
you know.
And then in
And
in that,
for anybody, wait a minute, for anybody to lay the blame on you, that's kind of messed up. I'm sorry.
well, a lot of men who do speak up are getting that type of backlash, and every single one of them have fought to go into court to get to not get full custody, but even half custody or some time to see their children, or whatever that looks like.
Right.
And I've read something. If you're the parent, like if you have to look at it objectively, like which parent is the better parent in that situation? It's the one that continues to go to court to fight to have visitation,
Mm.
not the one that's denying the visitation.
Or
Visitation,
thinks that it's default
right,
that
or whatever.
they will get it.
Yeah, if they're the ones that are being, if they're the ones, that's how you could tell which parent's a good parent. So if I hear stories out there that they didn't fight, they just kind of let it go, or like whatever that sounds like, then I know.
Mm.
I mean, if you got scars, like you could tell the scars of somebody. So yeah, and some people do stretch a little bit of the truth. So there's that. I got that going on Thursday night, so that's going to be at 8
Oh,
p.m.
that'll be great. That'll be
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
and then on December, just to do some housekeeping here, on
Hello.
December 8th, Tomatoes comes back
100
on.
Tomatoes is coming back with holiday movies.
Yeah, so we got
Woo!
him coming back to talk about holiday movies. And then on December 22nd is our last show of the
Don't forget
year.
December 15th, we have
What?
Let's Get Unstuck with
Oh,
Tracy Edwards.
yes,
Yeah, that's
Tracy.
the 15th. So 8th, 15th, 22nd, that's our
Right.
holiday wrap up. And then we're going to take some mental
Wait,
health
2 weeks.
time.
Yeah, so I got some other stuff going on. I got that history thing I'm working on.
That's
Uh,
great.
that's there's some interesting stories. I haven't caught up like yeah, there's so much involved in that. And then yeah, the
I'm
2 weeks.
glad you're doing that. I'm so glad you're doing that. Like, I want to do my Take the Leap Gal
Yeah.
podcast. It'll be shorter than this one.
Mm,
But yeah, I think it's healthy. And I think it's stuff that really needs to be
yeah.
addressed, you know?
Well, the stories about my ancestors and the family and all that kind of stuff that's been developing too. There's a bunch of other things that popped up that I haven't had time to go back and look at that, and so it's just been evolving. And then I'm working on a website that
Yeah.
hopefully that gets launched the new year. So there's a lot of stuff I'm working towards, and it's displaying what the website primarily is going to display my art properly, like my paintings, my creative stuff that I make, put them on. Some of them will be like my words or some of my phrases that people love. I'll start
Hmm.
creating merch for that. And then, there'll be some other things in there that I'm looking to do. I might be adding, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a full type of gallery where my books will be like so I can direct everybody to one page versus having multiple pages and things like that. So
Well, I haven't seen the updated version, so you have to send it to me. I'm excited for you.
yeah, I fired the last person.
Which is sometimes what we have to do,
I don't mean
you
that to be
know?
mean. It wasn't mean.
No,
It
no, it's
was
not
I
mean, but sometimes we just don't gel.
I
We
was
just
trying.
don't.
I was
We don't. And you were being a really kind, helpful person. And no matter what, sometimes it just doesn't work out. No harm, no foul. You
no.
know,
It's
appreciate
just yeah, I know I
the.
appreciate everything. It's just unfortunately it didn't work out. I wish it did because it would have meant some other things down the pipeline for all of us, but it is what it is. And I just have to, you know, I wish him well
Yeah.
and yeah, for whatever. Yeah.
Of course. And not everybody gels like you and me. I was talking to my friend who we're going to get on the podcast in February or March or
Mhm.
whenever to talk about disordered eating, and which I know a lot of women, but also some men have dealt with. And she said, "You guys are so different, but it works." And that's the thing; it just doesn't always work collaboration, and you have to you tried, you did your best, and
Right.
onward.
So do you want to talk about our next guest coming on?
Sue Reid, yes. she has such an amazing profile on, and I don't want to talk a lot because I want to hear it directly from her, but her profile on Substack is called Confidence Matters, and I love the double entendre on that. Um, I actually was on her live podcast and we talked about self awareness. And she is this calming, she's very intelligent, she's very knowledgeable, but she has this kind of calming effect. And she is grounding when you speak with her, and her desire to help people with their confidence, their self-esteem, their self-awareness is so important, because a lot of us are going around just relying on external sources to give us our confidence, to validate us. And she helps to she helps others to rely on themselves and be self-actualized in their confidence and in their awareness. And yeah, I am ready for her. I'm so ready for her.
Well, let's bring her on.
Yay.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
That's a really nice introduction. Thank you. I was wondering who you were talking about.
I mean it. I mean it. And Sue is coming from London. We have gone across the pond with our Saturday special edition. We're reaching overseas now, which I love because we're on earlier. So thank you for being here all the way from London.
I love that whenever I talk to Americans, they always think that London is England. It's
Well,
like it's
no,
the only
I don't
place.
think London is England. I'm sorry, I thought you were in London.
No,
You're
that's
not.
that's okay. That's okay. I'm in Devon. I'm not London. But like when I talk, when I was in America, everybody I spoke to, they said, "I love your accent. You must be from London." No.
Well, my family comes from Hertfordshire, so I
Okay.
know there's much more to the
There
UK
is.
than
Yeah.
London. But okay,
And I'm
thank
from
you for
Canada,
that.
by the way. I'm Canadian. So
And Canadian here too. So
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Beg
yeah.
your pardon.
Yeah.
Beg your
So
pardon.
the Commonwealth.
So yes,
Yeah.
the
So yeah.
Commonwealth.
So I'm coming live from Devon, which
Okay.
is
And
in
Devon
the
is
south.
lovely.
Yeah, southwest
Lovely,
of England.
lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
everybody, London is not what comprises all of the UK.
No.
Is it snowing there?
Is it? Sorry?
Is it snowing yet?
No, we don't get a lot of snow in the south, very rarely. But no, I don't think the UK at all has seen any snow. Maybe some in Scotland, but
Okay.
no, not yet. It's raining a lot.
Okay, cool. So I interrupted you there, Kaz. Sorry.
No, not at all, not at all. I want Sue to tell us about what she's doing at this point, and who she's helping, etc. Other than me.
Yeah, so I am a confidence coach. So this is kind of my second career, if you like, because I was in retail banking for 42 years, and I retired in 2019. And I became a confidence coach, certified about 3 years ago. But before that, I did a hypnotherapy course. So I'm a master practitioner of hypnotherapy and master practitioner of NLP. And I bring it kind of all into coaching. I don't like do hypnotherapy over here and NLP over here. I like do everything. So I focus on confidence because that was what I struggled with when I was young, very much so. And when I retired and I thought, right, I don't want to sit with my feet up watching daytime TV. I want to do something different. So I thought, what shall I do? I love talking to people. That was the one thing about my job that I really, really loved, meeting people and helping them. So I thought, okay, I can meet people, I can help them, and I can help them with their confidence. So I shall become a life coach. So that's what I did. I came to Substack kind of via Medium because somebody said to me, because I wrote a book in lockdown without knowing what on earth I was doing. I just thought, I know what I'll do. I'll write a book. So I wrote one on confidence. And somebody said to me, well, why don't you put bits of it on Medium, because then you'll get paid. And so I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to go on Medium and get all this money. And that never happened, of course. And then I came across the Write Build Scale team who went to Substack. So I came to Substack with them. So that's why I'm actually on Substack.
And that's
So
from the
you-
beginning of Substack?
No, I've been on Substack for a year now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned something about confidence as a child. You didn't have that. Was there like a specific thing that was hindering you from having confidence, like a disability, or was there bulliness, or what was that?
I honestly don't know, really. I think I actually think I did have more confidence than I give myself credit for. I think everybody does. We just have insecurities, and the insecurities cover up the confidence. But I was very shy. So I was very shy. I was very highly sensitive. So I know now I'm a highly sensitive person. Obviously, I didn't know that then. I don't think there was any such thing as far as titles are concerned.
Right.
I absolutely adored my mum, because my dad was in the Navy. So I didn't even meet my dad till I was over a year old.
Wow.
So I think that there wasn't that bond there.
With your father, you think? With your father wasn't a bond, you think?
I don't think there was a bond with my father like there should have been.
Okay.
I never felt really, really close to him, but I was really close to my mum. But when I was 8, she got depressed because she had, I know now she had postnatal depression. Obviously I didn't know then, and I don't think it was ever diagnosed. And that put a strain on my parents' marriage. I think it made my mum very depressed. After that point, she was a completely different person. So I think being shy, being ultra sensitive, and now suddenly my mum doesn't love me anymore. That's how it felt to me. That, I think, started this insecurity. And I went through a phase at school, like my teenage years, where I really, really wanted to fit in. For some reason, I wanted to be part of the cool gang. I wanted to be one of those girls, and I wasn't. And so I didn't really feel like anybody. I didn't feel like I fitted in anywhere. I didn't feel like anybody loved me. I was extremely close to both of my brothers, never with my sister. Still not. She's not speaking to me now, even though she lives around the corner from me. She doesn't talk to me. She walks past my house without even looking at it. But anyway,
oh my gosh.
I know. I did try. I tried for the sake of my mum, because my mum, I'm going off track a little bit now, but my sister disappeared for, it seems like years and years to me, but I think probably in total it was about 10. Came home when my dad died. She came to his funeral and went off again. She came home when my older brother died, came to his funeral and went off again. She never told my mum where she was. We know she was somewhere in Scotland. But at one point, my mum thought she must have died, because my mum said she would have got in touch by now, so she must be dead. And she wasn't. And my younger brother's never forgiven her for that. And my mum always wanted me and my sister to be close, and we never were. So for my mum's sake, after my mum died, my sister, we both tried. Her and her husband came to live in Devon as well. They moved around the corner from me, and it was great for about a year. And then just started falling apart again. So
what do you think? Okay, so there's a lot unpacked there.
I know, complicated.
So let me try to understand this. So, and I understand about the sibling situation, because I have something similar to that too. But do you think there was jealousy involved, or do you think it was just she was just a complete extrovert and she wanted nothing to do with the family per se, or what would you think was the role?
I think my sister, having talked to her when we were speaking, was exactly the same as me. She was also sensitive. She was also shy. She was more outgoing than me, because before she disappeared, she was working in Luxembourg for a year. She was fruit picking in Luxembourg. So she was actually brave enough to go traveling for a year. I never did. When I've been thinking about this, and I don't know why it keeps coming back to me, but when my mum was pregnant with my sister, she was very ill. So it was my brother, then me, and then my sister. There was another child in between my brother and me, but he died. So that's another thing that set my mum on a road of depression. So when my sister was born, I was 4, and me and my brother, who was 3 years older than me, had got some guinea pigs, and they were in a cage outside. At the time, my dad had come out of the Navy, and we couldn't get a council house, so we were living in a caravan, and there was a hutch where the guinea pigs were outside the caravan, and we started off with 2 and ended up with 6, for obvious reasons. And while my mum was in hospital, she was in hospital from just before Christmas to February when my sister was born. So she must have been pretty ill. My auntie came to look after us while my dad was at work. But at some point in that time, the guinea pigs died. And I think something in me blamed my sister, because if that baby hadn't have come along, my mum would have been there, and then she would have looked after the guinea pigs. I kind of think that's what I was thinking. And I think that I never really took to my sister. And so if there was jealousy, it was on both sides, I think. But as we've got old, and then the other thing was my dad always wanted the best from his children, which was fine. What father wouldn't? But my dad was very winner. You got to win at everything, like second place is the first loser. So you have to have high marks to do well in life. My sister did. She was extremely intelligent, and I didn't do very well, and I hated school, and that played on my mind as well. So she's more intelligent than me. I'm obviously stupid. Therefore, my dad must love her more than me. So it just, all these insecurities were all piling in on me, and nobody was sorting me out. So I think that put me on a dangerous road.
Well, that's interesting because I have a similar situation, an absentee father because of what he did for a living for the family to put a roof over our head, but always I got an A-. Why didn't you get an A+? When I was performing, I had a supportive role. Why didn't you have the lead? Just all of those that led to a perfectionist issue in me, people pleasing kind of thing, which I've grown out of, thank goodness. But I understand what you're saying. You didn't have that support from your dad, and there was obviously to you seemed to be some preferential treatment for your sister, which happened with me too. So I'm it's curious that, is it the times, or I don't know, did you ever kind of delve into it at all and kind of do a little investigatory, get to know what happened in your life?
I think a lot of it was to do with my dad. My dad worked very hard, and he was away a lot. He came out of the Navy because my mum told him he had to, because she said, look, I'm pregnant with our 3rd child. You're not going to be in the Navy anymore. You've got to come home. So he left, and we moved into, actually, he left before she was pregnant. So she said, I've got 2 children. You've got to leave the Navy. So he left. And we lived in the caravan, and then we got the council house when my sister was born. And I think he put a lot of pressure on both of us, but my sister was more rebellious than me. And I think she argued a lot with my father, whereas I basically did what I was told. I was a little bit scared of him, I think. And I think because she was rebellious, I remember one day some guy came round, and I don't know how old she was. Maybe I was still living at home, so she must have been quite young, maybe only 17. And this guy came round to pick her up, and she said, that's it, I've packed my bags, I'm going. She said to my dad, you'll never see me again, and left. And my dad never saw her again. That was it. He never saw her again. No contact or anything. And then when he died, I said to my mum, well, I better find her. So I went through the police, and they tracked her. And by then she'd actually changed her name. She didn't even want my dad's name anymore. So she was quite evil, but I don't know why she was that horrible, because it's not like he was cruel. He wasn't abusive. He was just, I don't know what was wrong with her. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why she did that. And when I came to live closer, and we tried to get close, she said that she said she was in this commune and she was being held hostage and she couldn't leave, and that's why she didn't come home. I'm not actually sure that's true, because there's quite a few things she said that don't actually match up. So I think that's just an excuse, because she was just being nasty. I think she just got a nasty streak.
And it's sad because you live so close to each other that you can't have a relationship, you can't work out your issues. Like we were talking earlier, it takes two to tango, and there are two people in any relationship.
Yeah.
And if one is just putting up roadblocks, there is not a dang thing you can do about it. And I think that is eroding of our confidence as just people. We're not even looking at our professional confidence or other aspects of confidence. That just erodes our personal, emotional, mental confidence. And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I had to, and it's the same with a few people in my family, a few people in my life, that I made a decision that I'm not going to let toxic people hurt me anymore, because you let them in and they just keep chipping away, and it does, it does destroy your confidence. You start to think that what they're saying about you is true, that the things they accuse you of must be true. So I've stopped now, and if somebody wants to fall out with me, that's fine. They can go. I'm not going to chase after people. I'm not going to argue with them. I'm just going to say, okay, that's fine. But my door will stay open. If you ever want to come back and apologize, then that's fine. You do that. But until you do, I'm not making the first move anymore. So many times it's always been me that's made that first move, because I was a people pleaser. And what did I do wrong? Let me put it right. And I'm not doing that anymore.
Well, we discussed that a month or two ago about a certain instance where it was kind of you were kind of being punished, and you said, I'm just not chasing after that person, and they need to apologize. It's not me who needs to apologize. And how does it feel that you've taken that stance? You're like, no, what they're doing is inappropriate, and I'm not going to be the one who acquiesces and waves the white flag, which as people pleasers we have done innumerable times, to make everything okay. I'm going to just let this person go.
Yeah, it's freeing. It takes the burden off your shoulders, because you're saying, look, it's up to you now. The ball's in your court. I'm not going to run after you. You come to me if you need anything. All you have to do is say, look, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. And the door's open. So, it's your call.
That's so hard for people, though.
It is
They have
hard.
to put a mirror up to themselves and admit, yes, I was being whatever, judgmental or narcissistic, which then they wouldn't admit that, but that I really was treating this person in an inappropriate way. But it's hard for people to admit.
It is hard, but I think
that.
if you shut the door, shut the door and say, like, goodbye, but come back when you're ready, when it gives them that time to reflect, because they might sit there thinking, oh yeah, she'll come back. She always came back before. I'll just sit here waiting. And then they're waiting. And then you think, she's not coming back. And then they have to make a decision. Do I want that relationship or don't I? And if they don't, that's fine. That's fair enough. There's plenty more people in the world. And sorry, John, it sounds harsh, but it has to be done.
So what do you consider toxic?
People that hurt you, people that deliberately hurt you, as in, like, don't tell you the truth, don't, like, put you down, these hidden little barbs, like they don't actually say something nasty, but they say things like, oh, well, you're always like that, aren't you? Or oh, I thought I could trust you, and stuff like that.
The
Or
manipulation. You mean the manipulation type of
yeah,
language?
yeah.
So that's because I bring that up because a lot of today's world, a lot of the kids are doing no contact. And they're focused on no contact because the parents somehow or another, didn't raise them right, and their feelings got hurt. And which, okay, I understand your feelings got hurt, but they're also trying to be parents. But there's also other situations where there's divorces and they have a major issue between both parents and they decide no contact, which I understand. But I think the definition of what is toxic in your life and I think people say these catchphrases and all this stuff, like, the narcissist or this and that and whatever it is. And they really don't understand the meanings behind those words, number one, or they just take whatever social media is telling them. And they're saying, well, my parents are narcissists. Well, if they're narcissists, so are you. I mean, that's a definition of narcissism. Like they'll teach you how to be narcissist. So what you're doing, no contact, is a narcissistic move, big time.
It's punishment.
You're trying to punish them for doing something wrong with them. So you're being a narcissist as well. And I think that's what people don't clearly understand when they're doing this stuff. Either way, I mean, I'm more of I would like to see a bridge happen versus saying no contact. So, I'll give you a prime example of my life. My son did something to me that was probably unforgiven, and it was harsh. And he did it when he was like 18 years old, I think, or something like that, 17, 18. And I got him a job. We're working together. We're doing something. And he started to badmouth me in front of amongst the employees. And it got back. And it was really bad. It wasn't something that was gentle. And I asked for forgiveness. I asked him to apologize to the team, and I apologized and all that. And he refused. And my response to him is like, I love you no matter what. Unfortunately, this is a point that what you did was very, very harsh. And it's not that I don't want to forgive you. It's just that is uncalled for. I never did that to you. I got you this job. I thought we can do something together, but you didn't do that. But I'll love you and I'll still maintain contact with you. But being in that situation again is going to take some time, like trust, understanding, and I need something from you to do that. So was it 100% no contact? No, but it was more or less of putting boundaries. And I think that's the definition of what we're trying to talk about here is what are the boundaries to our thing? And I'll give you another example this week. I was contacting this person for a job, just say that, and then their feelings got hurt because I contacted them. And the guy conversation was like, well, you kind of hurt, he doesn't like your approach. I said, you're talking about his feelings? Like, I'm supposed to contact him. We have a proposal in place. Are you telling me that his feelings got hurt for me asking about the freaking proposal? Are we talking about the guy who is 60 years old, whose feelings were hurt that I contacted him? So my point in all this is I think we take these opportunities and I think we oversensitize things. We push things out too far, and we're not taking any ownership ourselves and saying, why do I feel this way? Why did I hurt that person? Rather than saying, oh, my feelings got hurt or I'm no contact because I want to talk. Well, that defeats the purpose of having interactions with people, because at the end of the day, every relationship you have is going to be the same result over and over and over again. And I can say this with all, like, if I go back, and I always this is one of the things I kind of measure people in some ways, is how far is your friendships? How far can you dive back in history in your life? Well, I can account people at 4 years old of having friends
Mm,
over 50 years. And are we buddies? No, but we have friendships. We can still reach out, talk to each other, and have those conversations. If people don't have that type of relationship and they keep moving on and on, that has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you people. It has to do a lot with where their mindset is
Mhm.
and their feeling of that everybody's against them no matter what, and that
mm,
they're going to use all these cliches just to push away their responsibility of how to live. And I think that's where a lot of our issues are in the school systems today, is that we're not teaching people how to be efficient and to be alert or to be
self-reliant.
self-reliant
Mm.
or accountable, because if we don't do that at a very tender age and we just allow to like participation rewards. And I don't mean that to be, and I think your father was right, and I don't mean that in a, like, winning is an important process because it teaches you it helps you.
Confidence, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially me.
Resilience. It teaches you resilience.
Well, in sports, I played semi-pro baseball. I completely understand. I was very competitive. I know the feeling. I could smell the gas. I smelled the grass that drove me to win because I just loved the game. So it helped me in my life. But when people don't have that type, so I understand where your father's coming from, but I also understand coming in second and third is not really, it's not building confidence because, well, number one, you didn't practice enough to get there, because the more
Mhm.
practice you do,
Mm,
the more repetitions, the more things you could have done. You could have changed certain aspects. And that's the same thing in life. The little things that we do every single day that we avoid, like, for example, we rather watch TV than writing a story,
Mm.
or we rather let someone handle something because it's easier for me and I don't have to do that. So I'm relying on someone else's morals or efforts and things like that. Or we say we're going to do something and we don't do it. And then it causes more frictions and more problems for everybody that's involved. Somehow or another, we're not educating our kids enough. I mean, sometimes when I look back at the 1970s and 60s and 50s, were parents pretty, do they really care about kids a lot? Not really. But guess what? It built a generation of resistance. It built kids how to understand life in a very quick way. And yes, sometimes it was heavy-handed. I raised in a Catholic school. I remember being paddled as a kid at school.
mm. Well, that's
Okay.
awful.
So, did I deserve it? Yeah, probably I deserved it. I mean, not going to say I didn't deserve it. I probably did. Um, but I'm not saying when we bring those type of punishments back in, but I think something in our society has changed to the point where we're overcompensating the feelings about people's lives. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have understanding, but I think it's not, I think we're just, I think we're, I think we're going the wrong path, raising kids and building
Mm.
But
confidence in life.
not everyone, and I mean, talking about competition in athletics, not everyone is going to be a Serena Williams. There will
No.
always be somebody who's second or third or fourth after somebody like her, whether it's a football player, baseball, tennis. No matter how hard they try, no matter how much they practice, no matter what coaching that they have, no matter how much they've invested in their chosen sport, they will never be Serena Williams. They will
Mhm.
never be number one, either all the time or sometimes. And I think that's where we have to resolve ourselves to the fact that, you know, you may be a fabulous singer, dancer, actor, painter, but there will always be someone who is better than you. And there will always be someone who is not as good as you.
Mm.
And sometimes it doesn't matter if you're likened to Picasso, someone else will be just that much different and more creative. And I think
But
if we
that's like, I understand what you're saying, but the problem with that, I'm not, it's a problem. What I'm saying is that I get what you're saying. We all need to work towards like to better ourselves each day,
of
right?
course,
But
absolutely.
and there's a point also to recognize, how far can I go with this? Like, for example, semi-pro baseball, I retired at 25 years old. And that's the joke. But I retired and I went back and I did my own thing. When did I realize that? I came to a self point that this is not going to go anywhere. This is the best I got. So I better get an education. I better get my life together. I need to figure things out. Because at that point, I was, on the baseball fields, going traveling. It was fun, right? But I was also the older guys on the team. So I think your question is, how do we recognize, when do we know when our talent is not going to take us to the next level? And I think that's
I
another
mean, Sue
question.
can weigh in on that for where confidence is concerned. If you just weigh in on what the we've been talking about, that would be great.
Yeah, going back to my dad, he actually, you're right what you're saying, because what he did is, even though he seemed tough at the time, he made me try. He made me try harder. So I've kind of spent most of my career. When I realized it, I stopped doing it, but I was trying to prove myself all of my career, which made me very successful because I had to get to the top. That was instilled in me. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. Serena Williams, top of your game. But somebody's going to come along and beat you sometime, because you can't stay on the top forever. And that, especially in sport, as you get older, someone's always going to come along and beat you, no matter how Roger Federer, no matter how good you are, someone's going to come along one day and beat you. And you have to, you can't fall apart when that happens. But the confidence is to your best, like always be better than you were the day before, keep improving by 1%, if you like, every time. And that keeps your confidence up, because you are not competing with somebody else. You're just trying to improve yourself. So it's not, obviously in things like sports, you're always going to have competition. And I think we are, it's in our nature to be, because
Right.
of
Yeah.
our survival instincts, want to be better than the next person. But I think if we can always try to improve ourselves rather than looking at what somebody else is doing, that's the way to move forward. That's the way to keep your confidence, because otherwise you end up comparing, and that will knock your confidence, because you, like you say, you'll always find somebody that's better than you are.
Yeah, that
And
was
with the advent of social media, that's all people do all the time, is comparing themselves to each other. And a lot of these influencers, it's manufactured. I mean, I saw a documentary on where a bunch of influencers got on a bus and were taken to a location to make it look like they were on a yacht, or they were in some gigantic shopping spree, or they were riding in, an exclusive limousine, or they were hobnobbing with someone famous, when it was actually an entire busload of mostly women, a few men, influencers, and they manufactured it. And I think we have to understand that what we're seeing as competition, or her life is better than mine, and his life is better than mine, is actually not always the fact. It's how it's being manufactured.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you an example. My son loved playing soccer, right? And he didn't put a time into practice. Now, mind you,
There you go.
he was going to high school, and now he's playing high school. And then I remember one car ride, we were driving somewhere to a tournament or something like that. And, my other son said to me, he goes, "Dad, we would have made your team when you're at my age." And I said, "No, son, you would not make my team." I said, "I barely made the team." And they go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because my coach would yell at me. tell me I wasn't good, tell me I needed to improve, told me I needed to practice, tell me to move my feet, would have told me things that your coaches will never say because of how society is today. When I was raised, it was a different time. It was a different way of thinking things. And I hustled. I made sure I made the team. I made sure I did the things, and I listened. I said, you guys got a choice. Either you go and make an effort to play the game or quit, because you're taking room from someone else. You're taking a spot that someone wants to be there. I said, if you don't want to be there, I said, there's two things in life. Either you want it or you need it. If you want it, that means you're going to drive anything you can to get that. If you need it, that means you're relying on other people to give you something. That's a bad position to be in. I'd rather be wanting it than needing it. So you tell me where you want. You want to play? Then let's play. If you need to do this because someone's telling you to do this, then you're doing it all for the wrong reasons. I mean, that's when
I see your point.
That's when I think life changes. Once you start realizing where your passion's laying or where your interest is laying, then your confidence increases. I think when you want something, you excel. You start, and those little habits I keep saying, like a violinist practices 10,000 times before he hits the right note. I mean, think about it, 10,000 times to hit the right note. That's when you know you're playing at your game, and then it doesn't really matter. I remember when I was playing, I remember we were in a tournament and came to bat, and the guy threw it. It was a home run, and we needed to win that game. So there was a lot of pressure, and we won the game. I mean, the cheers. I mean, that's the time when I need to get confidence, I go back to that time and I go, remember that time you felt this way. And that helps me move on to the next part of my minute or so. I think self-reflection of those moments, those proud moments, is where you start getting confidence. But when you start feeling you need it or you want it, that's your instincts telling you what direction to go. And that's how I've been operating. So, yeah.
Well, then, Sue, I would be interested in knowing, from your relationship with your father and then your relationship with your career in corporate world, and it takes you to where you are now. And in my observation, a very talented, a very experienced, a very compassionate person who wants to help others have confidence. So can you just take us through that evolution to where you are right now?
Yeah. So as I got older, I went through some difficult relationships. So because I was this sensitive young girl who didn't feel loved, so I went off to try and find love. So I ended up meeting in
well, no, just
about to spit out my water. I'm like, what? Did you see both of us are like,
but that's what happens when that's happened to me. Like you fall for the wrong people.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So I had three. I had a lot of dodgy relationships. Most of them didn't last very long. But I had three very not very nice relationships that kind of kept bringing me down and down and down. So the first
one. Were they abusive?
Sorry?
Were they abusive?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. In different ways. So first one, and I wasn't with him for very long. I was just 17 and I was just starting my first job and in the bank. And my friend was the same age as me, but I'd at last found this girl who was really cool, that was willing to be my friend. And so I was really happy, but she had a boyfriend who was 7 years older than her, who had a friend. Oh. And can we make up a foursome? So I started seeing this guy who was 7 years older than me. And I just wanted to be part of that gang. So I didn't care about him at all. I didn't really like him that much. But
Sorry,
so
dude.
one
Sorry,
day,
dude.
I know. So one day he hit me. I can't remember why, but he hit me. And I thought, okay, what do? Do I tell my older brother? And my older brother will probably kill him. Or do I just finish with him? So I finished with him. But he wasn't having any of that. So he, because it was coming up to Christmas, he said, oh, look, I bought you a Christmas present and I'd love to meet up with you just to say goodbye, as a final. And I thought, okay, well, at least I can just tell him straight, look, don't bother me again. Otherwise, I'm telling my brother, da, 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 da. So I went to meet and we had a drink. Everything was fine. He was really nice. I'd already bought him a Christmas present. I bought him some aftershave and he literally tipped it over his head. He absolutely stank of it. I really did. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was Lynx or something like that, or Brute, or it was something that was like fashionable at that time. And he like tipped it over his head, I think, and he stank. But I thought, okay, right, I'm going to go home now. And by then, my dad they'd bought a house. So they had a house on a housing estate, and it was a big estate. And to get to it, you could either walk down the main road, which any sensible person at that time of night, it was about 11 o'clock, would have walked down the main road. But no, I went through the alleyways, the shortcut. So of course he cut through and he came up behind me with a knife and he stabbed me 5 times. And this isn't new knowledge because I've talked about it on a live before. So he stabbed me 5 times.
New to me. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that one.
His intention was to kill me and then kill himself, but I broke the knife. Apparently it snapped in my hand. Luckily, I never knew I had that strength. So I snapped his knife in half, and he ran off. And luckily, he left me in the alleyway. And luckily, 2 young lads who were only like 14, who were messing about in the phone box up the road, came running over to see what had happened, called an ambulance, called the police. A lady came out of her house and helped me. And so that was that. So he went to prison. When he came out after a year, I think. He got 3 years. I think he served a year. Because I think he'd served some time before it came to trial.
Manslaughter or manslaughter, or
well, just assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, and I think it was because he made up this story about how he loved me and we were supposed to be getting married and I was seeing somebody else. And I just couldn't go to court. I was just too upset to go to court. I should have gone to court, but I didn't. I just gave a statement. But he said that he said this story, and it was called a crime of passion, which was a thing in those days. So it was a crime of passion. I hurt him, so he went off the edge.
Someone's feelings got hurt.
Yeah, his feelings got hurt. So he thought she deserves this, definitely. So anyway, so I took an injunction out on him, so he couldn't come back to our city. My social worker helped me do that, so that was good. So that was that. And after that, my life went on. I was actually doing quite well, and I was at work and I was gaining a bit of confidence. And then I met somebody else who absolutely knocked me sideways. I absolutely fell head over heels in love with him. He was in the Merchant Navy, so he wasn't home all the time. My dad didn't like him. My dad said he's bad news. My dad told me that he had another girlfriend. I was going, no, he doesn't. And then his girlfriend phoned me up to say she'd already got 1 child with him. Oh. And he was still seeing her. And when I confronted him, he said, oh, no, she's mad. Ignore her, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, he was abusive. So he was physically abusive. But I was with him.
Do you think in that relationship, because he was a merchant, that you kind of associate that with your dad as a Navy guy?
Possibly, yes. Yeah. I mean, he was
comfort.
I think the main thing, do you know what? I think the main thing was that he did boxing. He did martial arts. And I thought, this is somebody that was going to protect me. So they're trying to kill me again. This guy's going to protect me. But he didn't. He absolutely tried to control me. And this is the pattern that I was in, where I was a little mouse, and I found somebody that would help me, and they wanted me to stay that little mouse so they could keep control. And as soon as I started to build my confidence back, they wanted to knock me back down again. So then I met somebody else who said, okay, well, I'll take you away from Devon. We'll run away together. And we were actually going to go to Italy, but we never got there. We got as far as Torquay in Devon. And then he's got a job in his uncle's restaurant. And we got married, and I was married to him, and everything was fine. But then he started, he wasn't physically abusive, but he was mentally abusive. And that, I think that's actually worse, personally, because mental abuse cuts a lot deeper. And he would put me down every moment he could. Like, I'd get ready to go out, and he'd tell me I look like a slag and I need to change my clothes. Why are you wearing that? You look awful. And all the time we were out, he'd be whispering in my ear going, oh my God, I can't believe you came out looking like that. You look terrible. Look, nobody likes you. Da, da, da. And he'd be like this all the time. So, and I was with him for 7 years as well. And then in the end, he left me. I don't think I would ever have left him. I spoke to my mum, and my mum said, well, you've made your bed. Now you need to lie in it. And those words were in my head all the time, that this is my issue. I need to live with it. But I was getting stronger. I was getting more confident. And one day he was having a go at me, and I just lost my temper, and I punched him in the face, and he fell over backwards. And he said, he said, he went out, he came back, and he said, I'm leaving. I'm going to leave because I can't live with a violent woman.
Oh, of course. Talk about narcissist. Classic narcissist. Classic narcissist. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen,
Exactly.
goodbye.
And the funny thing is, he'd made very good friends with our window cleaner. So we had this window cleaner, and they were really good friends. And this window cleaner used to come in, and they used to smoke pot together, which I hated, but that's what they did. And in the end, they went off together. He went off traveling with the window cleaner. And I never saw him again. I have no idea where he is now. I never saw him again.
So
at least he did you that favor.
Exactly.
So in all your relationships, there seems to be, like, you were attracted to someone that was probably a little more risky or something like that, a little bit more different on the edge.
Bad boy.
And then
it was always somebody to protect me. Because the last one, even though he was a lot smaller than the other one, and the guy I was seeing, that the boxer hit him, beat him up, but he still said, no, I'm seeing her, I'm taking her away. And we left without telling anybody where we were going, apart from family and close friends. And I got a transfer at work, and they kept it quiet, because there were girls going into the bank that they weren't friends of mine, but they were asking if they knew where I'd gone, because they needed to contact me. They'd lost touch with me, and it was just him trying to get hold of me.
What is wrong with people?
I know. So I don't know what either of those two are doing now. I don't know all three of them. I have no idea what they're doing. But yeah, there was a definite pattern there. So because I was getting more confident, I was getting stronger, I said, that's it. I am not doing this again. I'm breaking this pattern now, and I'm not going to meet anybody else until I meet the right person. And I had a shopping list in my head of the person I wanted to meet. Wow. He had to be funny. He had to be kind. And I found him, and I married him, and we've been married 27 years.
Oh, yay. I love a good stuff. Well, it's too bad you had to go through everything you went through, but good for you. Good on you.
So you created a list of what the person would look like, the person you would want to marry again, right? So you created that myth. So, but a lot of us,
that intention, you set that intention.
Yeah. But a lot of us, what happens is, in our youth, we get a little bit discouraged, and we get our confidence, but then we always choose the wrong person. later in life because we miss that void, or we're ignoring something, and or because we're not whatever we're doing. How like how do you know when you're with the right person?
it it feels right, but I think it's more than that. You won't meet the right person, I don't think, until you have confidence within yourself. There is some reason why you are
Yes.
choosing the wrong person. There's a lesson that you need to break. So for me, it was always that, and I find this with most people, actually it boils down to, in some shape or form, you don't think you're good enough. You don't think anybody is going to love you because you don't love yourself. And so the first step is, obviously, you need to love yourself. You need to accept yourself as you are. And then you can start to call the right person into you. And how you know they're the right person is it just feels right. It feels right. And you are on the same level as well. They're not telling you what to do. They're not trying to change you into somebody else, which is what you often find. You meet somebody and they have a vision of what they want, but you're not quite it. But they think, oh, I'll change you. I can change you.
Oh yeah.
And we do that to each other. We try to make the person fit the mold that we want, but it's never going to work. You have to be on the same level. So you have to be two separate people that want to be together, not this, oh, we're going to meld together and become the same person. You won't. You've got to stay two separate people that want to spend your lives together, and then it will work.
So interdependency, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
An interdependency relationship
Not codependency or
No.
control.
No.
Because all the
That never
relationships
works.
you talked about were codependent, or
Yes.
one of those things.
It was always me looking for somebody to help me and them looking for somebody they could control. That was it.
So in a codependency relationship, you're always going to be in a toxic situation because it's volatile, it's chaotic, it's always about feelings, or however you want to phrase it, or it's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be ups and downs. And when I look back at my relationships, the ones that are, the ones that are snickering, or the ones that are kind of like putting you down, or the ones that are like hostile, those lasted, but they didn't last for very long, and there was always damage control after the fact. When you're in a relationship, I remember dating after my fiance and I split up. I hired a psychologist, and I said, I want you to be tough on me. I laid out what I wanted. I laid out the boundaries. I want not to do this ever again. I needed to break the cycle. And the cycle was that I was always like the fireman, a police officer, or whatever, trying to help somebody out of be the rescue kind of person. So that means I was creating the codependency because I needed to feel validated that way. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't do that again. So she helped me through that process. And I'll tell you, it wasn't pretty. It was ugly. And she was tough. She goes, your feelings hurt? Big deal. Go on next. Like that was her mindset. It was like, that's how, because I needed that, because that's how I was raised. Like I knew exactly what I needed to do, but, and I was able to find that. So when I was dating people, I mean, I would let, I'll give an example of one. So this lady I was dating, and she was a little strange, but a nice lady. And I mean, just strange in a good way, kind of like in a funny way, but kind of like whatever. And then she would have these moments of like flipping all the time. And then she called me up one day and she says, we're supposed to go somewhere that weekend or whatever. And then all of a sudden she calls me up and she says, hey, I'm ending this. And I said, okay, that's great. Sounds great. I wish you all the best. See ya. Bye. Hung up. Done. That drove her nuts. And she calls me up and she goes, then she calls me up like 2 weeks later and she says, it really bothered me that you told me it's okay, no problem, have a nice life. And she goes, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, it doesn't really matter to me. You could be in my life or you could be outside of my life. either way, I'm great about it. I'm going to
You
be okay.
broke up with me. What, you want me to beg you to stay?
Well, that's the problem in today's world. They want you to chase them. They want that chase. They want to feel validated that way.
That's a game. That's a game,
That's a
and
game,
game playing
exactly.
never works.
But
Never works.
that's the then that's the reason behind that is because people have that's low confidence. That someone has a lot of red flags in the sense they have their own mental issues that they have to deal with. That means they're not secure with themselves. That means they're not confident. They need somebody to help them out. They need this validation of
They
feeling wanted
need
all the time.
Sue. They need Sue.
Right. And that's the problem. So, but my point is, I got to see the red flags beforehand, and I was able to recognize it because of the work that I did. If you don't go through the work, the other thing I want to talk to you about is you talk about loving yourself. What does that look like? Like, everybody says, oh, love yourself and go in the mirror and say, I love you and love you. What does that really, really mean to somebody to love yourself? Because I don't think people understand that.
No, I don't think they do either. And it's hard to explain. It means that you don't have any bars on your heart. You just, because what we do is when we've been hurt, we lock our hearts up. And so we stop people from hurting us, but that also stops us giving love out as well. So to love yourself, you have to be able to look in the mirror and like the person you see. You have to know your good points, and you have to know your bad points, and you have to accept all of it. You have to put yourself first and not put other people before you. So it sounds selfish, but you do need to put yourself first. So I look after myself more than anybody else. Even if you've got children, if you look after yourself first, you can look after your children better. If you're not looking after yourself, you're not going to be much good to your children either. So it is that put your air mask on, your oxygen mask on first. It means that you're comfortable by yourself. You're comfortable in who you are, and you can sit with yourself in silence. You can be alone and not think, because this is one of the big problems I had. I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to live on my own. I've never lived on my own. Not for very long. I had to be with somebody because that somebody had to validate me and tell me that I was okay. Now I do it for myself. I don't need anybody else to tell me that I'm a good person, I'm lovable, I'm clever, because I already know. So I guess it's treating yourself like you're like somebody that you really love. So however you would treat somebody that you really love, that's how you treat yourself.
So when I was during I agree about being by yourself. That's probably the hardest thing to go through. Learning to be with you, no one else. And I did that during COVID for 9 months in there, or 6 months, because I was always outdoors afterwards. Because I was sick, I was this and that. But for 6 months sitting there. Actually, I could tell you where this felt like. I was in the hospital, broken shoulder, laying there, told it wasn't a good situation, right? Laying there, kind of like, and no one shows up. You're by yourself. At the time, I kind of wished my ex-wife was there because she was a nurse, and I wasn't in a state of mind. I was drugged up. And then I was like, no, I really don't want that. But then I was like, I got to do this on my own. I need to pull myself out. And I think those 2 years of the COVID, like therapist or the psychologist, therapist, we call her, through COVID and the bike accident, that 2 years really changed the way my life went 100%. And when I went to London, I just booked a trip, found a motel, found it. It was, and I did things cheap, and some people wanted to come with me, and I said, no, this is a John's trip. And that was more of like a discovery of John. And being by yourself means, I mean, when I was traveling by myself, I really loved myself. That's where I found I really truly loved me. Now, when I go to work and do all that, I really don't like me because I don't want to do that. It's not, I need to do it, but I'm not, that's not. So when you talk about loving yourself, I think you could love yourself even though and you could hate yourself at times because of things you did and all that, but you could also love yourself for understanding those things do happen. I think it's the consistency of trying to be consistent all the time. And I think that's where, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to phrase it, but I living alone was probably the toughest time of my life.
There's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I love doing stuff by myself. And I was on my own just with my son for 5 years before I even went out with the man who's my husband now. And I travel overseas by myself. I go places by myself. I go out to eat by myself. I'll go to cinema by myself. He encourages me because I'm a better wife. I'm a better friend. I'm a better mom to my son when I can be just on my own, making all my own decisions. And but I guess it's because I have learned to love who this person
Yeah.
is, and I am a-okay with spending time just with me. That is not easy for a lot of people. It wasn't easy when it first was nearly foisted on me because I was that serial person who needed to be with someone. But the times I lived alone, wasn't dating, I really learned that to rely on myself, to have confidence in myself, to love myself. And again, going back to what we talked about very early in this conversation, I had to take a good hard look in the mirror at myself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my foibles? What are my idiosyncrasies? Where do I really need to step up my game, as it were? And once I allowed myself to do that, and that also took, like I mentioned earlier, I work with a hypnotherapist. I've worked with talk therapists. I have certifications in healing modalities, and I apply them to myself. But it's a journey. It's truly a journey to get comfortable being alone with yourself and not feel lonely.
I think they ought to bring out a law that once there has to be a law that when you split up with somebody, so as part of your divorce or splitting up with anybody that you've been with for a while, so somebody that's hurt you, there should be a law that you're not allowed to date anybody else for a while until you can prove that until you can prove that you love yourself, that you can live on your own and you don't need anybody else, and then you can go and find somebody else. You feel a lot stronger.
Well, they do that in recovery. They do that in whatever, if you're substance abuse recovery or disordered eating, when you are in recovery, I mean, and some people break it, but you are mandated as an agreement of your recovery, do not get involved with anyone for the first year in your recovery.
Good. I'm going to open a divorcees rehab.
Oh my gosh, you'll have
Things you don't do.
millions of clients. So what's happening for you now? Where do you go from here with your work and your Substack?
Yeah, sure. So I'm mainly on Substack now. I've been still tinkering on LinkedIn, but mainly I've given up with Instagram. I'm just going to stay on mainly Substack. That's my base. But oh, what happened there?
I'm sorry. I'm putting the Substack up.
There she is.
I'm trying to put
yes. Yeah, got that frightened the life out of me. I thought I'd pressed the wrong button somewhere.
No. I'm trying to put the Substack
We had no
on.
forewarning.
Okay.
We had.
Yeah, I was trying to be.
I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, so
So that's
me. Confidence matters. So that's my home now, Substacks. That's where you'll find me. I'm going to evolve a little bit more next year. So I'm going to do group coaching as well as my paid tier, which I've got a confidence circle. So we meet 3 times a month and basically have a little chat, and it's lovely. It's like a friends meeting for coffee. It's brilliant. But I'm going to do confidence coaching for looking at it's really addressing things like where you doubt yourself, where you don't love yourself. So self-esteem, self-love, self-acceptance, and self-belief. So those 4 areas.
Self-awareness.
So I've got 6-week course, coaching course live. Cohorts of 6 weeks where we'll go through that and help people to. It's kind of like a setting off point, so to improve your confidence. So from there you've got things to work on yourself. I'll give you workbooks, or you can have one-to-one coaching with me, or you can join my paid tier, whatever. I'm also going to start my own podcast on YouTube in January. So I've already recorded 3 episodes. I've got another one to do next week. So I'm going to start doing that. And I'm thinking of writing another book, but doing it properly this time. So I'm going to fit all that in somewhere. But my group coaching, if I find that it's no interest and nobody signs up for it, and I think people need it, so they should sign up for it. But if they don't, I'll change it into a mini course and I'll do that instead. So I'll do the work and see what happens. Yeah. So that's my plans for next year.
So then you have a book. You have a book on Amazon called Building Confidence. If I can just let me see if I can do this right. Let me just try.
You can do it. You can. It doesn't.
I can't do it. But it's on Amazon, and it's called Building Confidence: How to Thrive as a Shy Person.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And
it's got a bit of my story built into it, and also some like tips for building your confidence. It's quite basic, but it's
okay.
Good.
So there's that. You have that, and then I saw you have a website called SusanReid'sCoaching.com.
Sue Reid Coaching. Yeah. I mean, I hardly use it. I don't really need it really now, but because I've paid for it, I keep it going, but I need to refresh it a little bit.
So you don't like your website, or is it just something that or you just use?
I think it's just because I've been focused on Substack, I've kind of left it by the wayside. So it needs refreshing a little bit, I think.
Refreshing, yeah. I mean, that doesn't hurt for anyone's website to refresh it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually in the middle of building a website myself, but it's a depository of all my artwork, my books, and all that, and then so that people can go on there, and I have a one-stop shop basically, because when you go on Substack, it's kind of hard to link everything to one place, and when you link, it's all these
yeah.
So it's just an easier.
My website's the same. Yeah.
So
Kazacres.com has everything about me. Everything.
That's probably what I need to do on mine as well. Then just stick everything on there, because.
Yeah. It's like John
I
said,
don't even think it mentions Substack on there at the moment. So
no,
that's my home. So I do need to sort it out.
So who's your this?
We're going to do shout outs, because I'm ready to shout out my Substack people.
And I apologize. I've been extremely busy, so I'm sorry if I haven't read as much as I usually do. But there's there's a few people here. There's Barry Christopher, Trevor Green, Maritime, Hassan, Chris Russo. And then there's Richard Hogan. He basically said, "Good afternoon."
Oh, Richard. People. Yeah, Richard.
Underscoring an important nature and of humanity and sociality, and greetings to you, to Sue and Kaz. Brenda is on. Z.
Hi, Brenda.
So there's a bunch there. People are joining. But one of the things things we do is Kaz and I talk about the Substack person that we read that we want to bring up. So is there anybody that you've read this week you thought?
Yeah, I found somebody this week, and the first time ever on Substack, I just went through all his stuff, just read and read and read. And he is called Peter Cummings, MD, Astro MD, and he writes about the universe and like quantum physics, but he's actually made it quite easy to understand.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't stop reading it. It was so good.
I love when you find
shout
something
out
like
to
that.
Philip Cummings, Astro MD.
Oh yeah, Philip.
Is he
Philip.
is he
Is it
funny
Philip
or
no, Peter Cummings. Sorry.
Peter
Cummings, Astro MD. Is he funny?
yeah, or is he
I think
more?
I read him too.
No, he's very.
No.
He's a
No.
scientist. He's an
He's a
astrophysicist.
Oh.
Astrophysicist. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my list is super long today, so I'm not going to describe everyone, but I'm going to shout them out. Well, of course, Sue, I read you all the time, and my beloved partner, but I need to shout out to M3 Cents, CENTS, my 3 cents. Love all the content. Caitlin McCall, fellow Canadian, my gal, our gal, Lynn Broderick, a Bodhisattva journal, based in Buddhism. Love it. Gray, we all know Gray. Gray's, Canada Resists. They have, I'm not political, but they have some really funny things. And it's a lot of it is based on their like emotional support dog, who I think is a retriever or something. So the dog is, or a poodle, or I don't know. Anyway, they've got this amazing dog who does the talking for them. Gunner Habits, Habitz or Z. I don't know if anybody's found Gunner, but yeah. Cat Lady and Dr. Bronze Rice.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite. You know Dr. Bronze.
I know Dr. Bronze Rice. Yeah. My friend.
He's the bee's knees. So yeah, that's had to get it because last week I had one person who I love and but I want to be fair and shout it out. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, there's been some conversations. There's the one person I've been talking to is Julian, what's her name? Winneman, WEINMANN. And she's
Wyman.
She's a retired marketing person. And the reason I brought her up was that she has couple books called lifewriters.com, and she has a couple cool books that I've just ordered. Going to read them hopefully over the break, and so there's that one. So that's mine, and she has like a couple like Christmas stories, things like that. There's a whole bunch that she has, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. Anyways, and I think they're children's.
Well, and you also have your Christmas time kind of story. Well, it is your take on the birth of Jesus with, but takes place in Bethlehem, PA. Title is again, Quiet Miracle. And then my book, The Perfectly Messy Thing Called Life, about humans and the fine print. That's going to be coming out imminently. So I'm excited about that. Yay.
So yeah.
Wow, this has been fun.
Yeah. So what's next?
You, Sue.
What's next, Sue, before we sign off?
Well, what's next today or in the future?
In a couple of weeks or so, Christmas.
I'm having a cup of tea after.
Yeah. It's 6:30 now here in the evening. Okay. So it'll be my nighttime drink, my herbal tea, my chamomile and lavender.
And lavender, yes.
Yeah. Christmas, I'm not a huge Christmas fan, I'm afraid. But yeah, so we'll have a quiet Christmas. Going to see my family, my brother and his family in Gloucester.
Nice.
And see my grandson, my son and daughter-in-law, and their little boy, my other grandson. So yeah, visiting family, quiet time.
Nice.
Well, thank you for joining on our podcast. Appreciate it. And, when you get your podcast up and running, let us know when we'll.
Yes. Yeah, you can come on. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, vice versa.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sue. Thank you for everybody joining today. Appreciate it. And we're signing off.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Stories, Soul Work, and Substack. We're so glad you're here. If today's story made you think, smile, or feel something, share it with someone who needs a little light. You can find us anywhere you love to listen on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other streaming platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to Kaz and John's Substack for updates, behind-the-scene notes, and upcoming guests. Keep writing your truth, keep doing your soul work, and remember, your story matters.